My name is Christopher Tompkins. It is my great thrill and honor to announce my new online course beginning February 15th, Shiva Sutras, an introduction to the yoga philosophy of Non-dual Kashmir Shaivism, featuring for the first time in any modern course, in translation, the commentary on the Sutras by legendary Tantric sage of the early 11th century, Sri Kshemaraja, student of the Venerable Sri Abhinavagupta. This course will be based on 7 manuscripts of this text with Kshemaraja's commentary, personally recovered by myself and others between 2012 and 2015 from Kashmir. The Shiva Sutras, or the aphorisms of Shiva, what it means to attain the consciousness of one's highest self, is arguably the foundational text of Kashmir Shaivism, and teaches that there is only one reality called Shiva, identified as pure consciousness, accessible through that power that flows within our very body as our prana, our life force, that Shakti, or the goddess power of consciousness responsible for the dynamism which defines our experience of this reality. We will immerse in the profound wisdom of Kshemaraja's illuminating commentary on the Sutras, to which he applies the 3 Upāyas, Sanskrit for skillful methods of liberation, the most venerated teaching of Abhinavagupta. The goal of these 3 yogic methods is to dissolve blockages in the body and mind, self-created blockages, responsible for perpetuating feelings of incompleteness, mental anxiety, citta-vritti, which obscures our essential and ever-joyful self, forever one with the bliss of consciousness, our birthright to experience. This wonderful teaching on the 3 means to awakening, highly accessible to students today, includes the embodied method of awakening through the innovative physical practices of Tantric Hatha Yoga, and then the empowered method or means to awakening, which is the practice of transforming the energy of thoughts and self-deluding painful beliefs that we might hold into triggers for self-realization. And finally, the divine means or method, the method of triggering moments of sudden awakening through cultivating our perception intuitively into the nature of our own sensual reality, meaning to say, to focus deeply on an intense sensual experience with our breath, with our mental focus, and even with a mantra in order to trigger the Kundalini Shakti. In the following sample passage, taken from this very manuscript you see before you, and translated by myself, Kshemaraja teaches us that through these 3 ingenious methods or upayas taught to him by his guru Abhinavagupta, and here applied to the short aphorisms of the Shiva Sutras, that the source of all self-created suffering will be dissolved at the root. All suffering that is correlated to mental anxiety, background unhappiness, and depression. Suffering that is not innate to our true nature, and that arises solely from a habit of mentally grasping at thoughts, judgments, and stories about oneself, others, or the world. And that when we grasp at these stories as they arise, our true blissful freedom, that which defines the self-awareness behind the mind, is obscured. Instead, we are taught that it is our birthright to experience Shiva nature, that true state of happiness which is the source of all the happiness from within that all human beings have ever experienced. And so if we are struck by feelings that our happiness lies outside of ourselves, through possessions, through status, etc., we are under the sway of these beliefs that cover up our true self-nature and give rise to feelings that I must acquire, become, fix, or change something or someone in order to feel the freedom of true lasting happiness. And so Kshemaraja raises the question, what if that happiness that you felt at the moment of falling in love, in moments of looking into the eyes of a beautiful child or a sunset, all the highs you've ever experienced, what if that high is not caused by the trigger but has arisen from within? And so if we suffer from any kind of recurring depression or anxiety with such statements as, there is something that needs to happen in my life before I can be happy, or that something should not have happened, otherwise I would be at peace now, Kshemaraja teaches us that by investing in such false stories, we lose touch with the core essential state of our own highest self, that is to say, with Shiva consciousness. Now the voice of Kshemaraja.